Welcome to Disaster Party Podcast. As always, this is Rob Sedano with my co-host.
Oh, whoa, daddy, it's your boy Andy Vivians. That's Vivians01. True Whoa Daddy of Vivians. I-N-C. And tonight, we talking Space Jam, LeBron James, Bugs Bunny, oh lordy. Tonight we on episode 40, Whoa Daddy.
Okay. That one worked. I liked it.
It was a little campy.
No, I liked it. But you know why? Because today we are reviewing Space Jam: A New Legacy, HBO Max release, theater release, Lebron James, the sequel to Space Jam from the 90s with Michael Jordan. Don't call him B. Don't call him B.
Oh, Michael.
Don't call him B.
A. Jordan.
Not Michael B. Jordan. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Don't do it. That was a pop too.
That was a pop. But don't spoil nothing.
I won't.
Okay, all right.
Not yet.
So I watched this today. I watched it with Banks. You know, he seemed to like it. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was the worst movie in the world. Would I say it's better than the first one? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Can't tell. First one was good. Iconic. The movie, the soundtrack, iconic. Michael Jordan, iconic. We'll get into it. That's just my opinion. I'll leave it right there. I'll go into more explanation without spoiling. So I'll spoil it later. What about you?
I went into this movie hating it, absolutely hating it. Heard people hated it. I hated the fact LeBron James and not Michael Jordan, almost messed up again, was in it. I'm mad that they never did the second one with Michael Jordan. I'm mad they used the number 23, even though it is his number. It was not Michael Jordan. Mad they didn't have any magic drink. But I absolutely loved it.
Okay.
Not gonna lie. I actually enjoyed that a lot more than I actually thought I was going to enjoy it. I actually laughed my ass off at certain parts. I looked at it and was like, this is dope. I popped when they were in a certain city. And a certain group of people showed up. Nothing to do with the movie, but still got me. I liked it. I would actually go back and rewatch that, and I would have to rewatch the first one again. But as of right now, I think it might have been better than the first one.
Whoa. Yeah, I rewatched the first one recently because, got the kids, so we watched it. I'm interested to see how this goes.
See, the first one, it was a great movie. It's iconic. The only reason why I don't think the soundtrack is going to hold up, or it could, I think the reason why the soundtrack might not hold up today like it did when we were younger is because R. Kelly just came out with I Believe I Can Fly with the music video to Space Jam that was released and played on repeat. So whenever you hear the song I Believe I Can Fly, you instantly think of Space Jam.
Yeah.
I don't remember one song that I can connect. Even though the song at the end with the credits was dope.
MC Hammer.
No.
That song was in the movie.
It was in the movie, but you can't connect. You can't touch this. It's just Space Jam 2. It's just not happening. And I think it's because it's nostalgia for us that we love Space Jam. But I also remember the original Space Jam for the video game that came out because I love that game.
Okay.
Which I could see them coming out with the video game on Space Jam 2 just because of the premise of the movie.
Yeah.
Uh,
See, I have some aspects that I think is better than the first. Some aspects I think are worse than the first. So I'm like, that's why I couldn't really settle on if it's better or worse.
and you got to see the first one recently. I think it's been like 15 years since I've seen Space Jam.
Mhm. Okay.
Maybe a little longer.
All right. All right. All right. So let's just jump into it.
Let's do it.
All right. So similar to Space Jam 1, it starts with like kid LeBron talking to his mom. His mom's gonna miss his game. She's working. Then we go into he goes into the gym where the game is, and his friend passes him an old school OG Game Boy, the big fat one, and it has the Looney Tune games in it from like it's gotta be early 90s. I've definitely played that game. And so it kind of shows how LeBron kind of gets introduced to those characters. His coach yells at him, blah, blah, blah. His coach is like, you're better than this. You're better than this, kid. Focus. And then it goes into this like little montage of like LeBron getting drafted, then, Cavaliers, then to the Miami Heat, back to the Cavaliers, to the Lakers. And then it kind of goes flashes to, current day. Current day, if I correct me if I'm wrong, it shows his sons at a basketball. They're at their house and they're like playing on basketball court. Dom is the youngest son, and Darius is the older son, and they have a daughter too. Dom is more into like video games, and Darius is more into his dad's footsteps, so to be a ball player. LeBron comes in and just starts shitting on him. In my opinion, I was like, dude, he is not likable at all. I don't know about you, but I was like, damn, dude, you're a dick.
I almost texted you that too. Like, yo, he's a straight up dick. I don't think I'm gonna like this movie.
Yeah. He's just like, you gotta play ball. You gotta play ball. And I'm like,
On this, in between these lines is where you put in the hard work. No video games. And he had like, didn't Dom have like his own like video game that he was like creating in his hands, trying to show his brother while his
yeah.
brother was shooting hoops. And it's funny because they had like the automatic like voice ball release. So they were like ball, and then like the machine would like shoot like throw the ball at you. And then he tried to put it up, and then what did Dom scream ball, and the ball shot out and hit his brother in the head.
If I remember that correct, I don't remember that scene to be honest. So it could have been I was distracted with the kid. But there was one part of that scene that LeBron was showing his kids like this specific move that kind of like it's his dad's move or whatever. And at a certain point, like the mom is like, yo, you need to focus on Dom because he likes his video games versus sports. So then LeBron goes into Dom's room, and is like, oh, let me check this shit out. And Dom's like, are you serious? Do you really want to check it out? And his dad's like, all right, let me play. And he does his move in the game, and it glitches his game, and it basically deletes his character. And so it shows that move, like his game, the game that his son creates is pretty badass. But it shows that I guess for some reason that move glitches the game for some reason.
So that's what it was. When they were out on the basketball court, the mom calls them out, says that dinner's ready, they can't stay outside. So Dom is like, oh, what are we having for dinner? Spaghetti and meatballs? And then the ball shoots out and hits his brother square in the face. And then LeBron goes, ooh, that's my favorite. And they all like run off the court.
Oh my God.
That game looks dope.
Yeah, it did look dope. So then Warner Brothers Studios basically invites LeBron and his family to discuss like a movie deal. And before this happens, we're introduced to someone called AIG, Artificial Intelligence. So AI, it's algorithm. So it's algorithm. So it's Don Cheadle is actually the character who plays it. And basically he's like, I need to be as famous as LeBron James. So it's a computer. He's a computer program that's trying to figure out like how to use LeBron James to get fame. right? This is what the computer, the villain is. But in real life, the Warner Brothers brings LeBron in, kind of discusses some ideas of how they can animate LeBron James into different shows and movies. So they show him in Batman as Mr. Freeze. They show him in Harry Potter playing Quidditch. Yeah, they show him riding a dragon from Game of Thrones. So after they do all this, LeBron's like, that's not a good idea. And it's like one of the worst ideas I've ever seen. And I need to focus on basketball.
I thought it was kind of dope how they did that. And he was Al G Rhythm and his little sidekick. I forget what the name was, the little light bulb that was floating around.
Yeah.
Was like, yeah, he's gonna work with me, and like he was so excited and so happy. And then when LeBron just shits all over like his video package and tells him it's the worst idea in the world, he's just like starts going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And his son is just like, ooh, what is this? Like, and it starts asking like video game style questions about like the mechanics of the game. And you see him like switch and be like, oh, that's the one I need.
Well, even with that, it's like at this point, again, LeBron's being a dick again, like being mad rude about, no, it's the worst idea I've ever seen. And his son, who's creating a video game, is like, wow, I think this is cool. And he was like, I'm going to the E3, camp to where computer programmers go. And LeBron's like, no, you're not. You're going to basketball camp. Again, being a dick again. So then they all kind of leave. They go into this elevator, and I guess Ali G algorithm, manipulates the elevator and brings them to the basement to the server room and essentially traps them, Dom and LeBron, into some kind of virtual reality. But it's almost like they are sucked into the game like the original, or they're sucked into the universe like the original, how Michael Jordan was.
It's funny, like when they start realizing that they're inside the game, LeBron's like, "Oh, I'm claustrophobic. How do I get out of here?" And he like starts freaking out. And then Algae Rhythm pops up like Easter egg, the wizard from Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, "Ooh, shall enter," and there's like fire like going up around him and whatnot. And then he starts laughing. Then as he like comes in, this kind of like confused me for a second because he comes in and he's like, "Wow, I thought you would be a little taller," because he like manifests himself into like his actual body. But he's like super tall now, and then he shrinks down. I was like, "Oh, okay." So he's just like manipulating his body now.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, he separates Dom and LeBron, and he starts algorithm. Starts kind of manipulating them both. And again, LeBron just wants to focus on basketball. And Dom is like, my dad doesn't support me with what I do. So algorithm basically says he has Dom kidnapped, and if he's not going to help algorithm, LeBron James is not going to help algorithm, he's going to basically keep him here unless he wins a basketball game. And he goes, all right, pick, what basketball, go pick your basketball team and you'll see your son again. But then you also have the same scene as like algorithm being like, oh wow, you have a game, I knew you have a game, it's so cool, and kind of like manipulating the son and kind of pinning the son against LeBron. Yeah.
So like then Algae Rhythm kind of shoots him out, telling him to go like find his team or whatever. And he goes soaring through virtual space. Here you kind of see like, for my DC fans, almost a crisis on Infinite Earths as you start passing different Earths and different realms. You have like, he flies through, I think, the Wizard of Oz realm.
Yep.
He flies through Gotham.
Harry
Harry Potter.
Matrix. Game of Thrones.
Yep.
He flies past the Flintstones. He flies past the Jetsons.
Yep.
And then he ends up landing on Toon World.
The opening credit for Looney Tunes pops up, and he kind of goes through like the center of that hole, And when
Mhm.
he lands, he comes out and he's like, "Oh, I'm shorter than Kevin Hart." Ah, and he's like running around because he's like, like a what do you call those things? Like an accordion type deal,
Yeah.
which was funny to me. It made me laugh because, like, if you look at it, the way they did that is an original old school Looney Tunes joke.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Like
you
the
missed out a
word,
big thing. When he crashes into Toon World, he crashes, and normally you see like just a big hole of where someone crashes. He crashes, and it's a Nike symbol.
oh yeah,
Yeah. So that was kind of funny. Then once he goes to Toontown, there's a sign that says like population 1, and then as soon as LeBron walks in, it's population 2. And then we realize he finds Bugs Bunny because he goes to like the rabbit season, duck season sign, and when it was rabbit season, Bugs Bunny comes burrowing through like the ground and then pops up, and they start pulling the tags, like rabbit season, duck season, like that famous scene. And then Bugs Bunny dresses LeBron in the Elmer Fudd like hunting outfit.
all right,
And
Chase.
what's that?
He said, "All right, now chase me."
And then they get into like a car, and then they start speeding, and then like the car crashes, and then LeBron turns into a basketball, similar to Space Jam 1, when the oh my god, the bad guys in Space Jam 1 basically crumple Michael Jordan into a ball, start bouncing him around, similar to that. Yeah.
Then he's like, Bugs kind of puts him through like some of the old skits on like when he's shaving and he's doing his hair and he's the barber and then he's the outlaw. He
Mm.
paints the tunnel on a rock and runs through the tunnel, and then LeBron runs at the rock and like hits the rock, and then the car comes barreling out.
Mm.
He's old western, and like Bugs is doing like all of his normal skits until LeBron brings up Algae Rhythm, to when Bugs almost gets like drunk and depressed as he brings him up.
Well, the
Like
reason I think this thing is like so big, I don't know if you got that from it. It's like deep. Did you get that?
that scene,
The whole like this whole scene with Bugs, like it's like pretty impactful, but like low key.
everybody left, and he was the only one there, still using his friends. Because wasn't Porky like a patch of pumpkins?
Yeah, like he basically like Andy said, all the characters left, and they explain why, so we can go into that after this, but all the characters left, and he basically dresses all these like cactuses and pumpkins and plants and all this stuff as like his friends, but we don't know how long he's been there, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then when he goes into the saloon and he does get drunk, he's like crying, expressing, like telling the story of how his friends left him. And you got to think, like, you don't know how long he's been there. Like this Bugs Bunny has been probably depressed and lonely for God knows how long, and he's been making his friend, like kind of like Castaway, like how Castaway, he makes the volleyball into his friend, but he did it with all his friends throughout the whole town.
I thought I Am Legend.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Smith talking to all of the mannequins, and it's just him and the dog.
yeah, yeah. True, true. So basically, he says that Algorithm came to Toontown and told all these tunes that they had more capabilities and they're wasting their life just staying in Toontown. So it basically ends up all these people are like, all right, we're gonna go elsewhere. And Bugs was like, I'm staying here.
Um,
So LeBron's like, how do we go see your friends? How do we go get your friends? And Bugs like, all right, I got an idea. He just goes on like a mountaintop and plugs like a Toontown or Toon World flag into the ground. And then Marvin the Martian just flies down to just like conquer it after Bugs put the flag there. And then they trick him into stealing his ship. And he has this ray gun. It has all these different like things. It's like Stevie, or no, what's the blind Ray Charles or Charles? Ray Charles, like they have a Ray Charles thing, they have like anti-gravity, all this stuff, and he shoots LeBron with the anti-gravity, starts flowing up, and then he goes to do it with Bugs, and he has like a mirror, and it just bounces back and hits Marvin the Martian.
Ooh, you make me so angry right now. So
So yeah,
they took they take Marvin's ship and they're pretty much traveling to alternate universes or alternate Earths to try to find their friends. And a bunch of different shout outs, like a bunch of different Warner Brother properties start showing up as worlds. So they got.
but wait, before we even get on any planet, did you notice that when they were on the spaceship and Bugs was sitting in the captain chair, he basically was reciting Star Trek lines?
Yeah, Stardate.
Yeah. My bad. That had to be it. That had to be it.
I caught that at the very end. Like I didn't catch that right at the beginning. But as soon as
Okay.
he started, Captain's log.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so go into some of the planets that they visited.
So the first one they get to is a DC Comics planet. And me, as a huge DC fan, as they're going through this, I'm getting chills. My childhood is coming back because it is all the DC animated um, cartoons. So you hear like the Batman theme play, and you see a Batmobile come out, except this Batmobile has bunny ears and is shaped like Bugs' head. And before they even land on the place, LeBron's like, "I can't wait to see what what superhero I'll turn into." And then they go inside the Batmobile, and he's like, "I'm Robin. What?" And Bugs is dressed as Batman. He's like, "Why are we chasing a runaway train?" He's like, "Well, where there's evil, there are superheroes." So they get on the train, and you see Daffy Duck dressed up as Superman with the little Superman curl in front.
Mm.
He's like, whoever did this is in very big trouble. And then Porky Pig just comes out of the side of the chair and he's like, blah, 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 sorry. And he's like, if I pull this lever, it's going to stop the train. And like Bugs shows up and he's like, what are you doing here? This is my seat into the Justice League Hall. I'm doing this. So he pulls the lever and the lever snaps. And they're like, oh, where are we headed to? And they're headed to like an orphanage or whatever. He's like, oh, great. So they're all screaming. All of a sudden, the train stops. Bugs is still screaming. LeBron's like, yeah, yeah. So the train backs up, and all of a sudden, Superman pops up. And of course, it's the animated Superman, which was
Mhm.
awesome. Then Bugs asked Daffy, Daffy if he wants to play basketball. He's like, all right, I'm in. And then you see behind them, not the Justice League, but Justice League Unlimited just lands out of nowhere, and it's Aquaman, it's Wonder Woman, it's Green Lantern, John Stewart, and it's all the animated series drawings. It's the animated feel. You have the Burt Ward, Adam West Batman playing in the background, and then it switches to the Batman animated series theme, then switches to the Justice League animated series theme. Then they just take the ship and then get off of there.
Word. Before we move on to the next planet, did you notice that at the train station, there was Superman, or as Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm.
There was Dick Grayson.
I didn't see Dick.
There was Selena Kyle. There was Jimmy Olsen. And there was somebody else on the train, like at the train station. Can't remember who it was.
Did you notice who was on the train?
Yes, it was Alfred,
Yep.
Lois Lane,
Yep.
and Harley Quinn before she became Harley Quinn.
Yep. Was Lois at the train station or no?
Lois was in the train.
She was in the train. There was somebody else at the train station. Though. I think it was a female.
Well, it was Selena Kyle, Jimmy Olsen, Dick Grayson, Superman, or Clark Kent, and there was somebody else, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
It was awesome watching it because I felt like I was watching another episode of Justice League, just like it was in my childhood. Same artistry, same everything. It was awesome.
And then we head to Mad Max, and it was like the live action recent version of Mad Max, and they just edited in Coyote and the Roadrunner, and it's you just got to see it. It's funny, and then so they get them out, and then after that, it's an Austin Powers scene for when they first introduced Mini Me, and it's Elmer Fudd dressed up as Doctor Doom or what? No, not Doctor Doom.
No, he was Mini Me to Doctor Evil.
Doctor Evil, yes. And the skinless cat, was Sylvester.
It made me laugh so hard.
So this scene, I don't know if you heard anything. Casablanca is a movie. It was black and white. So you had Yosemite Sam, right? He was singing on the piano to somebody. But this scene was supposed to be for Pepe Le Pew.
Oh, really?
But I guess there was a lot of controversy because that character basically harasses women, and he basically forces himself onto women. That they removed Pepe Le Pew and they put Yosemite Sam there. Just a thing. Then they go to the Game of Thrones. I can't remember.
When LeBron is riding on the dragon as the chick.
It wasn't Lola.
I want to say Elsa, but it's not Elsa. No, who did they take from Game of Thrones?
But what character were they picking up at the Game of Thrones?
I don't remember.
Oh, it might have been the red character, that red fluffy character.
I think you're right. I think they picked him up.
There. So then we go to Matrix and we meet the grandmother, Granny, and Speedy Gonzalez. And it was kind of funny because like LeBron was dressed up as Morpheus, and Speedy Gonzalez did like the whole Neo kind of dodge bullets shit, and that was kind of funny. And then they slowly just started showing other characters just appearing. They showed, they recruited Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, and then Lola. So Lola has been in a Wonder Woman comic, I guess, and she's been training to be an Amazonian or an Amazon. And she is going through the same trials as Wonder Woman 84 in the beginning of Wonder Woman 84. And LeBron and Bugs are there trying to convince her to come with them. And they kind of get trapped over I don't know, they're trying to use a javel over lava, and they get trapped, and they're like, Lola, help! And that's the same kind of the way that he says help is the same way he says help to Michael Jordan in the first one.
Yep.
And then when LeBron's like, I have to save my kids, she was like, okay, I'm helping. And then Wonder Woman's like, you pass because you decided to help people instead of your own selfish like needs.
What was I gonna say there? I like how they did that with Wonder Woman. I am sad, if we backtrack a little bit, for the Matrix. I was waiting for Granny to pick up the phone and dissolve into the phone into the spaceship.
Okay. She was supposed to be Trinity in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to go back and watch The Matrix again after this, honestly.
I want to see all of them because they're dope.
They're dope. So then they get the whole team. They end up going back to Toon World. And LeBron and Bugs kind of have a little tiff about how they're going to like coach the team. And Bugs is like, let's just be loony because we're the Looney Tunes and be all crazy. And they do this whole like gimmick thing of how they're going to get the ball from back and forth. And it was kind of cool. Yeah. So the Goon Squad, so back to Dom and Algorithm, he's basically convincing Dom that, hey, you're going to be the captain of my basketball team. But little does Dom know, like, what the kind of, if Dom wins and his father gets trapped here forever, but like Dom's not aware of this. So again, algorithm kind of makes Dom's game into the actual Space Jam basketball game, and says he can make any character he wants, however they want. He can turn his own stats, like basketball stats, to 100%. So basically, convinces Dom to make all his stats 100%, and that he can make his whole team. And I guess when Dom created this game, he scans like actual basketball players, so NBA and WNBA stars, and kind of learns how they play so that he can make their avatars in the game. So when he makes their avatars in this game, he combines each character with like an animal. So there's like a snake, a spider, a bird, a water fire guy. So at this point, it doesn't show that, but these are the characters he's creating.
There's at one point where he talks about like how he used his phone and like how he was scanning the movements of like the spider, or he was scanning like the players on the basketball court, which kind of cool when you think about it. Like it's a different twist on the first one, because the first one they kind of like stole their powers, and Jordan had to get it back. This one, he's like, he pretty much has gotten into his head and manipulated him so much that he's like, you know what? I'm gonna recreate this, and he starts fusing them together. So he's got like the snake woman, the spider woman, the big hawk guy.
And they are all NBA or WNBA players, but I don't think either of us know basketball enough to tell you what players they are.
I honestly wasn't paying attention hard enough to be able to.
Oh, okay.
If they're like well known.
Yeah. So at this point, the Toon Squad doesn't even have, like, they're not even on the same page yet. And the clock, there was a clock on Toon World basically saying when this game's going to start. So at this point in the real world, LeBron's family's looking for him, and everyone is getting like a notification on their phone that there's going to be a basketball game for LeBron versus Son. Again, you don't know like what the winner gets, or any of the handicaps or whatever you want to call it. So the game officially starts and the clock goes down, and algorithm starts bringing in all of these Warner Brother properties as half of the crowd. And then then he brings in a bunch of people who are starting to watch the stream on their phones, and basically does the same thing he did to LeBron and Dom, and kind of like brings them into this world.
Everybody starts going into the world. You start seeing like I Am Giant, King Kong, all of the 1950s Batman. You see Freeze without a frozen helmet on. He's just in his bathroom. You see Penguin. You see Game of Thrones characters,
the White Walkers and stuff like that.
The Wizard of Oz. You saw the flying monkeys.
You saw the character from It.
Yep. So I'm wondering if the nurse was supposed to be, or not the nurse, the nun was supposed to be the nun from the horror movie, but I don't know if that's a Warner Brothers property or not.
It might be from like the Conjuring.
Yeah.
Who else was in there? You got Jack Nicholson's Joker. You had the first live action Batman, Catwoman. You had the 60s Joker. You had a bunch of his goons. You had literally like there was so much. Like you said, King Kong, Iron Giant. There was the Flintstones, the Jetsons, Animaniacs. You had a whole bunch of the Hanna-Barbera old school ones, like a whole bunch of them.
You had Space Ghost just flying, chilling in the air.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You had, actually, one big thing that we forgot is that when they were bringing their team together, Rick and Morty dropped off Tasmanian Devil, basically saying he was too crazy for them.
Take him back. We can't deal with him anymore.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers property. Maybe Cartoon Network is under Warner Brothers then.
Yeah, it must be. But so like they literally threw everyone in. Like you saw Amazon, like Amazonians. You saw people from 300. You saw people from Harry Potter. You saw soldiers from Game of Thrones. Yeah, it just so many characters. Like you can literally pause and just still find characters that we're missing right now.
It's probably the biggest crossover ever done.
Next to Ready Player One, I feel like that one had a lot too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be a nice little tidbit to see who had more.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the whole Warner Brother like property side. So as they're like as Ali algorithm is bringing all those people in, he's also bringing in the real people, and he ends up bringing in LeBron's family. And again, for some reason, I thought maybe that this was LeBron's real family, but all the characters are not. They're just based on his real family. And once everyone's there, algorithm basically says if Toon Squad loses, the viewers will remain there for eternity, and the Looney Tunes will be deleted permanently. And the agreement that is if LeBron's team or if the Toon Squad wins, then he gets his son back, and algorithm kind of leaves him alone, kind of thing. And then this is where you lost me. Like this is where I'm like, the first half of this game, I was like, this is stupid.
It was kind of just like they made the Toon Squad all normal human beings, so they couldn't use like their like.
Because LeBron was like state of the you know, the state of the fundamentals basketball.
So like they tried to play, but they like got destroyed, and then they brought out like the time.
It's halftime.
What was that?
It was halftime.
No, the time player, the one that slowed down.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, and you know, they had like his son's game stats, so like they had like posterize, or they had like extra like ability points that you could get if you did like certain things. So they were just like racking up points like crazy. Yeah, that part of the first half of the game kind of lost me too. Like, it was cool, but it was all right.
The reason why it lost me is because, again, like you said, the Toon Squad is all just normal. They don't have superpowers, nothing. But every single person on the Goon Squad all had powers or were animals, and they were basically like the spider was putting their characters into webbing. The water character was just like basically just going through people because it's water. The bird was flying over people. But then it's like, okay, I get that. But then the point system is like, oh, we're going to give you 600 points for a skill move. And the difference between this and the original version is like the original version was still basketball rules.
Yeah.
This is like LeBron's kids games rules, but it didn't even make sense in like a basketball sense because like, yeah, you had a basketball and you had to put it in the hoop, but that was like the only thing that was actually basketball. Like all this other shit was like 700 points for dunking and bouncing off someone's head 20 times. It's like, okay.
Well, remember when LeBron was playing in his son's room when he was playing the game before it glitched? He said, I think he hit like the posterize in the game, and he goes, "What? What are experience points? What are specialty points?" And he's like, "Oh, well, it's like basketball, but like it's cooler than basketball." So like the game was meant to be like a basketball themed game, but still have extra stuff added to it, which honestly I thought was a kind of like a nod or an homage to the Space Jam 1 game. The Space Jam 1 game was a basketball game, but if you played the story mode, you went to outer space and like you had to race Marvin the Martian spaceship. You had to go to Jordan's house and get all of his clothes before the dog woke up and the dog couldn't find you, so you had to maneuver around, or they had extra stuff like that. So I kind of felt like that's where like they kind of took that from.
Yeah, I mean, one cool thing too is that when one of those moves happened, it did like a Back to the Future car, and it like shot by and had like the license plate. But now that you're saying that out loud, because I kind of forgot, it's like in Space Jam 1, they made it a big deal that like Jordan had his sneakers and his uniform and like his gear. Like this one, they didn't do any of that. Like it was just like LeBron's great. He can wear whatever sneakers, he can wear whatever every uniform, and he's still gonna be great. But it just didn't turn out that way. And actually, now that you're saying that, in Space Jam 1, Jordan did a lot more scoring than LeBron even did in this game.
The Tunes did a lot more scoring.
Yeah, a lot more scoring. So basically the score is like 1,038-4.
Yeah.
And then it's halftime. And the entire team is like defeated and they're like, how are we ever gonna win? Because again, if you're looking at like normal basketball scores, like that's not even realistic to come back from. Again,
That's realistic to hit. Period. Like they should call the game by that point.
yeah. So this is kind of a funny bit. Like Sylvester comes out and he's like, all right, guys, I have something that's going to motivate you. I got you a former Toon Squad member, Michael Jordan. And they're doing that. And then like there's smoke. And then you see the sneakers, which are the sneakers that apparently he was using in Space Jam 1. And then the lights go on and it's Michael B. Jordan.
Is it bad I realized it was Michael B. Jordan through the silhouette when they showed it before he walked through the smoke?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had like as soon as I saw like the silhouette, I was like, oh, that's messed up. I bet you it's Michael B. Jordan. And then Michael B. Jordan walked out. And then I started laughing. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, oh, it's so funny. And then Sylvester's like, or then they start yelling at him. They're like, you were supposed to get Michael A. Jordan, not B. Jordan. And then Michael B. Jordan is doing his like, I guess Friday Night Lights, like he's doing his like his speech in like that movie. And he's like, you know, it's all about something, something. And then LeBron's like, nah, stop.
He was like, yo, I was just trying to get popcorn, and then this cat just kidnapped me.
And he's like, all right, I'm gonna go back to my seat now. And then after that point, LeBron realizes that his mistakes of doing the fundamental, and that's not going to work because this game is not really basketball. It's like skill points and all the other stuff. So he goes, Bugs, go be your Toon self. And that's how they play the second half. Yeah, so the Toon Squad starts catching up. LeBron eventually has the ball, and his son kind of goes to block him. And LeBron is like, hey, I don't want to stand in your way of your dream. My bad. I need forgiveness and trust. And then LeBron just throws the ball away. And Dom abandons the Goon Squad and joins the Toon Squad. But quickly, because I don't think we went into it, Dom was kind of a dick too. Because like in the beginning of the game, LeBron's like, yo, like, don't do this because they're going to keep everyone here if you win, and they're going to keep you here and me here and all this other shit. And his son's like, nah, dude, nah, dad, fuck you. And it's like, you're an idiot.
So it's funny because the entire time he keeps looking over and looking over and looking over and keeps looking at him. And when they come back out for halftime, once he's like, you know, be a regular like Toon self, they all start having fun because LeBron realizes like, you guys, or Bugs says something along the lines of, you know, yeah, we can't do this because we're trying to be you. And LeBron's like, nobody can be me, only I can be me. You have to be yourself, which is what his wife said about their son earlier in the movie. So they come out and then they make like the funny, silly face, and then like Dom looks over and starts seeing that they're having fun, and that's all he ever wanted to do was play basketball, but also have fun with his dad. Keeps looking over, keeps looking over, keeps looking over, and then finally makes the switch. And then Granny's like, "Oh, I needed this for you, baby. I knew you needed it."
So
like,
okay. No, you go.
I was gonna say, so they're like, how are we gonna come back? And they bring They bring out the robot, I think it was. Oh no, I'm jumping too ahead. I'm jumping too far ahead.
Oh no, at this point it was after Dom switched over to teams, Algorithm got pissed, and he's like, "I'm going to be the captain of the Goon Squad," and uses his abilities to make him basically unbeatable. Like anytime, so basically at this point, the Toon Squad is winning like 1,041 to 1,038 or something like that. And anytime they tried to score after that, Algorithm, because he's like so powerful, he just kept blocking and stopping them. So then the Goon Squad gets within 1 point or something, and then Algorithm basically removes a point off the Toon Squad to make them like they're down a score, even though they were up. And they do a huddle, and they decide that they need to perform the move that glitched the game and erased his character, Dom's character earlier on in the movie. And Dom's like, all right, whoever does this is probably going to be erased. So LeBron's like, listen, I'm going to do it so you and your mom and your family can get out and you guys can live without me, kind of thing. And Dom's like, no. And LeBron's like, nah, I'm going to do it. So you could see Bugs like looks at him, and you're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? So then they start playing, and then Bugs steals the ball from LeBron with like 5 seconds left in the game, and he does the move, which enables the glitch. Bugs kind of spazzes out, so Dom gets the ball and passes it, or yeah, no, Bugs passes to LeBron, and LeBron goes to jump up and goes like to do like the I believe I could fly thing that Michael Jordan did, but he's too short. But again, this game is not really a basketball game, or it is, but it has like boosts and stuff. And Dom takes this like boost jump that they've used prior in the game in the movie to kind of give people an extra jump, and he throws it right underneath LeBron's foot so that as he's falling, because everyone's like, oh no, he's not going to make it, he hits the boost, jumps up, and is able to dunk it. And at that point, like you said earlier, this game has an ability of posterizing, posterizing people if like you dunk them. So basically, posterized Algorithm, and it ended up deleting him and the Goon Squad because the Goon Squad were part of the game. So you know, the Toon Squad ends up winning. So the James family and the abducted citizen start getting teleported back to the real world. But while in Toon World, Bugs is glitching. And, at this point, you're thinking that Bugs is going to die because that's what was said. And you see the whole Toon Squad like surrounding Bugs as he's glitching. And then Lola goes, bye, LeBron. And LeBron and Dom just end up disappearing without you even knowing what's going on with Bugs.
Right? It's funny because so two things with that. I love the scene where Granny was like, we need time, time's on our side, and then LeBron was like, oh, that robot is pretty much the definition of time. But then like he goes to like do his little fast joint, and then Granny stops him with a Matrix blast that like slows him down and turns him old, so like he can't move, which was dope. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if it was nostalgia. I don't know if it's because Bugs Bunny is an icon, but I was pissed. I was like, yo, this movie did not just kill off Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, I was sitting there going, wait, did this really just happen?
I was pissed. And the way it happened too, like he just dissolves, turns into a star, and then he kind of blows up and you see like a good like 3 or 4 second like shadow eclipse version of Bugs in the air just floating, and then he's gone. I was like,
yeah. And you're
yo,
like, what the fuck?
it's bullshit. I think I still have some untreated deep pain from CW's Arrow when they did that to him at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths. So I think it hit a little too close to home, but
Were so now like the LeBron and his family are home, And obviously he's like, oh my God, I see my family in a different light now because they have to be like, you know, what they want. And I was being a dick the whole movie. And now I'm not being a dick because I learned a lesson. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Jerk. So then it says like 1 week later, and LeBron and Dom are apparently, well, Dom thinks they're going to basketball camp. And they go around the corner and Dom realizes, sorry, that it's the E3 camp. And he's all excited. And then he has a basketball in his hand. And LeBron's like, hey, you can give me the basketball back. He's like, nah, I'll hold on to it. All of a sudden, Bugs appears out of nowhere. And he's like, whoa, how did you survive? And Bugs is like, I can't die. I'm a lunatic. I'm a toon. Like I can't die as much as you want me to die. I can't die. So now you have Bugs Bunny in the real world, and no one seems to have an issue with it. And so now no one seems to have an issue with him being in the real world. And Bugs is like, hey, can I come to Taco Tuesday? And LeBron's like, Taco Tuesday? Of course you can. And then they kind of walk off. And yeah, Bugs is like, can everyone else come over too? And they're like, yep. And that was the movie. But wait, one quick thing that I forgot to add is that all of those people, I just remembered, all of those people that we just mentioned earlier in the crowd, Jokers, Batmans, Game of Thrones, Jetsons, Flintstones, all this stuff, the villains or the Goon Squad from Space Jam 1
Oh yeah,
was in the crowd and they were cheering for the Goon Squad. Which
So
doesn't make sense because they ended up turning good guys by the end of the first movie.
well, they had sad faces on at the end of the game when the Goon Squad lost. And I think it's because they're still heartbroken that they lost to the Toon Squad.
Mm.
Which their jerseys are kind of dope, and I kind of want one. Like I want an original one, and I want a new school one.
Word. So yeah, that was the end of the movie, though.
Also, how did Dom not see that big ass E4 or E3 sign in front of him as he's walking down the street facing him? Like I would have understood if LeBron was like, "Oh, turn around to the street like behind you." Homie was walking straight at it. How you not see that?
I don't know. It's I don't know.
But I thought it was,
But there's more though. There's more. Before you jump into that, there's more.
there's more.
Yeah. While the credits were rolling, they were showing these little clips of like the tunes doing things. And I read a rumor that there was a whole bunch of spin-offs that were supposed to happen after Space Jam. And one was supposed to be a NASCAR one was supposed to be a golf one was supposed to be a skateboarding one. So in the credits, you see these tunes doing different sports and stuff. And the first one is them skateboarding. One of them is them in a race car. One of them is them golfing with Bill Murray, and Bill Murray was in the first one. So like apparently all these movies were supposed to take place, but they never did. And then there was a shot of Granny about to punch Ronda Rousey. So I thought that was kind of funny.
That's fantastic. I didn't get that far.
Oh, okay.
Is it bad that I already casted every single person who would play in that?
Well, it was supposed to be Jeff Gordon for the NASCAR. It was supposed to be Tiger Woods for the golf. Supposed to be Tony Hawk for the skateboarding.
I'd have been dope.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be all that.
That would have been fun to watch. I don't know if it would have got overplayed or if it would have been as good, but
it was just interesting that was in the talks, and then they kind of paid it off with these little like clips of the tunes doing stuff other than basketball.
They were supposed to do a second one shortly after the Michael Jordan one finished, but that just never got made.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. So, okay, after all that, let's do some final thoughts. Star rating out of 10? What do you think?
You're like a 7 or an 8.
Okay, all right.
Um, I liked it. I thought it was a fun cartoon. It had all your original Looney Tunes stuff. Had the original jokes. It actually made me laugh, like genuinely laugh, not like oh haha that was funny. Like actually like oh that was pretty funny. Seeing everything else in it, seeing the throwback DC animated series made me happy. Even I didn't realize that was Casablanca. I had to look that up. I thought that was cool. Seeing them go to different Earths was cool. It was Space Jam, but a new generation Space Jam, but had the same Space Jam feel, I think, as the first one when we were kids.
Okay, all right. Um, so I gave it like a 6,
Okay.
5.56. Um, it was good overall. As a kid, I think that like good movie for a kid. I liked it because it was different. It showed more of the Warner Brothers, more of the Warner Brother properties with all that, and I thought that was cool. So I enjoyed that. And then the fact that I didn't really like LeBron's acting. It was pretty rough, especially in the beginning when he was like being a dick for no reason at all. And I'm like, you're just a dick, and if this is how you are in real life, then you should be stuck in the Warner Brothers universe or the subverse. But then there's things that I liked, or I also didn't really like the whole first half of the basketball thing because it's a basketball movie, but you're not playing by basketball rules, so someone could get confused. But again, I can see how they targeted toward children and how like maybe not all sports games are as realistic as the actual sport. But I like that. I like the fact that did play a role in the first one, and like even the fact that Michael Jordan had Bill Murray as like a partner. So when the Toon Squad got hurt, like Bill Murray came in, so like that was cool. So like that kind of stuff, I kind of not so much, but I did like how they used most of the different Warner Brothers properties. Um, the fact that they introduced like possible death, like that kind of added more stakes to it. It did add that video game aspect, which again, I'm a gamer, so I kind of like that. It it was just yeah. Again, it was like again, I'm like in the middle. I can't tell if it was better or not.
I think even with LeBron's bad acting, I think it fit for what Looney Tunes was. You know what I mean? Like the whole movie was very campy.
But
His
it was
acting
dark.
skills were
It was
very campy.
dark.
It was. It was dark campy, but campy nonetheless.
But like it was so dark that a child would not realize. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
That's true.
if you put it in the whole picture of the whole darkness is you had a father, LeBron, who did not believe in his kids. That's dark. Then you had a villain that was trying to be just all powerful and take, didn't matter who he fucked over. Dark. Then you had Bugs Bunny in Toon World for we don't even know how long by himself, seemingly like kind of going crazy because he's making all these different fruits and plants and stuff into his friends. So that's kind of sad. And then the fact that like you had all these villains or like on the Goon Squad that were all kind of like monsters, like things that can kill people, right? And then you had a lot of like adult uh properties. Like the Matrix is not for kids.
Oh no, not at all.
It is not for kids. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these old school Batman movies are not really for kids. Wizard of Oz, I mean, yeah, that's a kids movie, kinda, not really, but kinda. And you know what I'm saying? Like you had a lot of adult themes. And then after all the adult themes, it was just like, yeah, you can't kill Bugs, he's a tune. And hey, you want Taco Tuesday? And you're like, I was It's dark. It was like dark if you looked at it that way. But again, as a kid, you're not going to look at it that way.
Oh, not at all. And even to add on to that, I think you just raised me from like an 8 to a 9. Here's why. Character development in that movie was absolutely phenomenal because it starts off in the beginning where all LeBron wants to do, like he gets lost in playing this Looney Tunes Game Boy game, gets yelled at by his coach about playing the game. And then his coach tells him that like basketball is his way out of like essentially like the ghetto or out of like whatever bad situation his family's in. So the reason he's a dick to his kids is because he had to put in all that hard work to get his family a better life, and he just wants his kids to have a better life. But he sees Dom being a younger him creating a video game, which is what was his downfall to begin with. Then you have Al G Rhythm, who was super, wow, I almost said super babyface, super super good guy who all he wanted to do was work with LeBron and get over and get the recognition he needed. But LeBron was too much of a dick to see what he was trying to do that he just shits all over him.
So LeBron being a dick started this whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's just like, all right, I'll just kidnap him and bring everybody here. Since I can't get out working and partnering with LeBron, I'll just bring them all to me. But he's upset because he's not getting the recognition that he needs. And now it turns him from being like this happy-go-lucky, I thought he was going to be on my side, dude. Oh, well, fuck him. This is what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then Bugs being left by himself is super depressing. But now, if you think about it, you understand it because if Michael Jordan was able to be sucked into the Looney Tunes realm, then they want to see what else is out there, so they start branching out. But Bugs doesn't want to see what's out there because he's complacent to where he is and he doesn't want to branch out. He feels like all of his friends left him and branched out, which is super depressing still either way you see it.
Yeah, all his friends abandoned him.
But then they come back. The monsters are huge and the monsters are big. But in the first one, you had the Monstars. Yeah, they weren't monsters per se. Well, no, they kind of look like monsters because they kind of look like little bats.
But their abilities were stolen. It wasn't that they were given the abilities, and that's not how they were created.
Well, that's true. They were stolen from the original players. But the players that were made in this video game were based off of the characteristics that was scanned into his phone of original players. They were just able to turn the algorithm, no pun intended, all the way up so that way they can give him the special abilities. Then now he brings everybody to his realm because he can't get out. There's no way he's getting out. He thought his plan was going to work. He'd finally get the recognition he needs. He doesn't get it, so he pulls everybody into his world. And he's like, all right, you guys will just stay here with me. And then you guys will see all I do, and I'll finally be the good guy. I'll finally be that guy. And everybody's like, no.
On top of that, it's dark because the first one, it was these Monstars just taking the abilities of 5 different basketball players.
Yep.
Right? This one is darker in the sense that it uses technology to kidnap people from just the ability to see their phones. And that could be dark because, what I'm saying? Like that, like if you look in some other movies, like that whole cyber hack kind of thing is like ends up being like super dark. And the fact that like one being can just like basically kidnap like 100,000 people like this.
Message.
And on top of that, you know what I think they should have added? Because I liked how the first Space Jam showed how after those players lost their powers, how they went to the doctors and psychiatrists to kind of figure out what was wrong with them. They did not show, they showed people getting absorbed in, but like there had to be at least 30,000 people taken.
Well, they sent them.
Well, yes, but we don't know how long they were gone. I think it would have been interesting to kind of see on the news or something saying like 30,000 people just vanished.
I don't think they were gone that long. At least it didn't seem like they were gone that long because like when LeBron's wife went looking for him, it seemed like it was the same day.
True, but again, people would notice if like 30,000 people just went missing, even for 10 minutes. They'd be like,
"Wait a second."
Or some people would have seen them just get absorbed into a phone.
Yeah.
So I liked how the first Space Jam had that kind of. It showed not only the Space Jam game, but it showed how these players were like adjusting to not having their skills. And that added a whole like comedy element to it. Because like these players are like, yeah. So like one of them's like in the therapist table going like, yeah, so like my sister was mean to me or something. And you're like, what? So like that stuff's funny in a way because like they're confused just like the audience is.
Like I think it was Charles Barkley tries to go to the neighborhood kids and like play ball with them, and he can't. And they're like, "Yo, you ain't Charles Barkley, you suck."
Yeah. And then they have this like depressing music behind it, so it's like, yeah. I don't know. Like I said, 5, 6. It's something that maybe I'd watch again with Banks, but I don't think as an adult I'd go back and watch it. That's just me.
I wouldn't go back to physically watch it by myself, but if it was on TV, I'd watch it again.
Okay. So we did have feedback on Instagram. So again, every now and then we do post what we're going to review, and if you see it, you can give us your comments. Gabriel Baez commented,
Ooh.
I'm about to throw up, like emojis. He put the green I'm about to throw up emoji, and then vomit, 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 vomit. That's what I thought. So I'm assuming Gabriel did not like this movie at all.
Yeah.
He just puked all over it. So literally, emoji-wise, he puked all over it. I mean, I could see how he got there, but again, we've already broken down how we kind of feel about it. But yeah, maybe after listening to this podcast, Gabe, you'll see. Maybe it won't be as bad.
It's too many comic references for the comic book warrior, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a comic book fan, you get something. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you get something. If you're a Matrix fan, you get something. Like you get a little bit. Yeah.
Too funny.
But I guess like that's all we could really say about the movie. We gave our ratings, we gave our opinions. What you guys think? Even though we already recorded the podcast, leave a comment on the Instagram post, on the Facebook post. Tell us what you thought. Start a conversation.
Maybe we'll share the responses if we get more on next week's episode.
Yeah, we could do that on the news. Yeah, we could definitely do that. So why don't we just plug out upcoming episodes? We got next week. We got El Jefe Mar talking all things cannabis.
Smoke Chiba Chiba.
Chiba. Then after that, we got our SummerSlam Crazy. We might get canceled.
Canceled.
And then after that, we have Suicide Squad, which I am personally so excited to review that because I thought it was fucking great. I thought that movie was just so fun.
I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to text you as soon as I'm done.
Are you watching it tonight?
Huh?
Are you watching it tonight?
I'll watch it tonight.
Okay. Because I'm excited to get your text messages and be like, bro, what the fuck?
You're like, what is this? Now that you know, oh, wait, maybe not. Yeah. We'll see how my subscription goes. Thanks, HBO.
If it worked for Space Jam, it'll work for Suicide Squad.
Well, yeah.
That's true. Yep. I know what you're saying. I got you. So, as always, I'm going to say, remember to like, share, rate, review, subscribe, and follow to Disaster Party Podcast and all social media podcasts, including the YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating. It does help us out on the podcast algorithm. Follow us on YouTube and give us a thumbs up on our videos because it does help on the YouTube algorithm. And we appreciate that.
I'm going to say one thing that we don't normally say, and I think we should probably start letting them know that in the video description, or if you're listening to this, in the description of the podcast episode, there's a little Linktree link. Click that. You'll get all of our socials. Make sure to do everything he just said. It helps us out. We love you. We appreciate you. Whoa, Daddy.
And I'm Rob Sedania.
I'm Andy Bivians.
And we are out. Bye.